to the Hill. We hope you enjoy this week's message.
Welcome, my name is Robin. I'm one of the leaders of the Hill Church, and I just want to say personally to you, whether this is your umpteenth time with us for our party or your first time, you are very, very welcome indeed. I recognise that in this room is every kind of family and every kind of background and circumstance. I understand that, every kind of Christmas experience and all of that. But as I just want to speak to you for a few minutes, I recognise that there are two words that will have been spoken or will be spoken by most families or most people at some point at Christmas. And those two words are this: we always. We always. Just as I was sitting there, somebody picked up the chocolate coin and said, when we were a child, we always took these off the tree. And so we have memories from our own childhood. I'm sure as even I've said those words, you'll remember your we always. For me, when I was a young boy, we always had a real fire, an open fire on Christmas Day. Well, it felt like that. We probably didn't, but it felt like that. I'd come down, the Christmas tree was lit, the lighting was adjusted, and my mum was there lighting this open fire. And she used to, and if you've ever got an open fire, you might know what I mean here. She used to take a newspaper and lay it over the fireplace so that the air would come underneath the gap in the paper and cause the flames to lick higher. How dangerous is that? So we always lived dangerously on Christmas morning. We always, in my family, would go on Boxing Day. This was a number of years ago now. We used to go to extended family, and it would feel like about the size of this room. Every kind of cousin, aunt, uncle, people you didn't even know were in your family were in the room. And it used to be an incredibly powerful occasion of exchanging presents, or so I thought it was until I got married. And my wife politely observed on the first experience that she had of our Boxing Day present exchange with wider family, she called it present shoving. In other words, you basically had your presents and you just tried to get rid of them as quickly as possible and gather the other ones. And then you tried to hide when you knew the duffer present that you had. You didn't want to open it in front of the other person, so you tried to hide and you could just shout, "Thank you," and you didn't have to acknowledge it. So we always did present shoving on Boxing Day when I was a child. Matthew's house, not been going many years now, but it's already got a few we always. So far, we've always served food on Christmas Day to anybody who wants to book in. So far, we've also done this. We've taken a Polaroid camera with us on Christmas Day, and we've taken a photograph and given it to every single guest on Christmas Day as a memory of that Christmas Day. We always. Why do I tell you that story? I tell you it because I want to also mention this. Sometimes in Matthew's house, we've had to say no to people. We've had to say to people, "You're banned." We never ban people permanently. We say, these behaviours are unacceptable. We lay down boundaries to say, you can't do this here, and therefore you're banned. If you want your ban lifted, you need to come and meet with us once a month, and we'll come and meet with you, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about why your behaviour led to this situation. But then we will lift your ban if you can recognise that that is not acceptable at Matthew's house. Last week we had a ban lifting meeting successfully. Why do I say that? As that particular guest got up to leave, they said this: "I've still got my Polaroid picture from last Christmas." We always matters. My final we always I want to share with you is this. You probably have this experience yourself. You get to day 3 of Christmas, and what do we start to do? We always play board games, don't we? We always, by then we've had our fill of TV. I think, okay, nowadays it might be day 4 and day 5 will be Netflix, but after a while we'll still go back to the board games. And for us in our family, it's the classic, isn't it? Monopoly. We always play Monopoly. Oh. But I think those few days at Christmas are an illustration of our whole lives. They're an illustration of our whole lives. Good memories, sad memories, painful memories, and embarrassing moments. But I actually think Monopoly itself, never mind the rest of Christmas, is an illustration of our whole lives. I'm sure there are days when you felt like you've been on Park Lane and you own the hotel. And somebody else has landed on it. And you've got triumph and you are winning. But there are other days when you feel like you've just landed on Park Lane and you don't own it. And there's a hotel staring at you in the face. And so like Monopoly in life, there are moments to avoid, places to land, and things we wish we owned. Winning and losing, triumph and disaster. It's all in the board game. It's all in life. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether you won the game or you lost the game. Like life, there's a simple lesson taught right at the end of Monopoly or every board game. You take all the tokens, you take all the money, you take all the status, and it all goes back in the box. All goes back in the box. But these few days at Christmas aren't just an illustration of our lives, they're an interruption to our lives. They cause us to ask the question, what really matters? What's really important? What's really important? Often we come to realize relationships matter. Friends, family, parents, children. Gosh, children interrupt our lives, don't they? They interrupt Christmas, they interrupt our lives. I was there when my daughter Darby was born. She was born with her eyes open, I kid you not, and she hasn't shut them since. She's not 18 years old, and I feel like she's had them open her entire life. And I'm looking forward to when she eventually leaves home and I can shut mine and sleep. But I was there when my boy was born. In fact, I wasn't expecting him to be a boy. I was expecting him to be a girl. And I can still remember I was there when I said to Hannah, I'm not joking. It's a boy, Hannah. It's a boy. For the obvious signs that were staring at me in the face. But here's the thing. No one, nothing has ever interrupted our lives greater than this child, Jesus Christ, born 2019 years ago. 2019, the hinge of history. Jesus Christ, we measure our days by him. We measure the dates of our birth. We measure the days of our death. We measure all the anniversaries. He shaped governments. He shaped art. He shaped culture. He shaped science. He's done it all because of his birth. And we weren't there. I was there when Jake was born. I was there when Darby was born. But I was not there when he was born 2019 years ago. But somebody was. And a guy called Luke, he wrote the words that were read out about the shepherds and the angels. And he begins this account of him being there. And he says this, I have carefully investigated these things. And I have spoken to the eyewitnesses. And I have spoken to people like the shepherds. And this is what they told me has happened. He's the one who said this one life is good news and will bring great joy to all people. That is the interruption that took place 2019 years ago. I think the carol writer, O Little Town of Bethlehem, understood this when he said this. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. Hopes like Ezra, the smart shepherd we saw earlier, hoping that his performance would be enough to get him a good acceptance. Never mind with a king, with anybody, looking good, trying to do it by performance alone, trying to impress. Or fears like Asher, the lowly shepherd, realizing when he has a moment of reflection that the pretense of his life is fooling no one. Never mind the king, it's not even fooling himself. The hopes and fears of all the years, the carol writer said, are met in thee tonight. And for me, I can say like Luke and like the shepherds and like countless others in history. In fact, may I put it like this, the words of the carol we just sung, O Holy Night. He appeared to me. Jesus Christ became real to me. And my soul felt his worth. Nothing in my life has ever matched the joy and the peace. No one has ever matched the joy and the peace that is found in Jesus Christ. As O Holy Night, the carol says, a thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices. For me, the joy of knowing that all my hopes could be found in him, that my best moments would never be good enough for him anyway, and the joy of knowing that they did not need to be, that his best moments were going to be lived out instead of mine, that his perfect performance would be given instead of mine. The guys on the stage, they talked about what gift can they bring. Did they not realize that Jesus was God's gift to them? And it was a one-way gift exchange. It was God present, shoving Jesus into our lives and say, there you go. The hopes and fears of all the years will be met in thee tonight. That is God's gift to you and I. And then the peace of knowing that all my fears were settled by him, that my worst moments were never going to be too bad for him, and the peace of knowing that they never ever will be, that he would have his worst moment instead of mine, that he would take a punishment that was due to me and take it upon himself, which is the cross and his death. And that again was God's gift to you and I. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. And so I want to leave us just with this question. Where are your hopes? And where are your fears truly being met? Because we all have them. And does the answer really come close when you think about it in reflection to the claims of that child born 2019 years ago? The one who said when he was older, I am the light of the world. The one who said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The one who said, no one can come to the Father except through me. And finally, the one who said, look, I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends. We talk about hospitality and hope at Matthew's house. God himself says, come and share the hospitality of heaven through Jesus Christ. The hope we all search for can be met in him tonight. The peace we all long for can be met in him tonight. He is a bearer of hope like no other. He is a bearer of peace like no other. Everlasting, never ends. Everything else we have will go back in the box. But his peace, his joy, his hope will not. History making, world changing, life in abundance. These are the promises and claims of this person, Jesus. And as the guys realized as they came to the end of their sketch, it's for anyone. For anyone. For me, I've already told you, for me, yes. For anyone. For whoever, whatever, wherever. Jesus Christ has changed every kind of culture, class, and circumstance and transformed countless lives throughout history. And he stands at the door, he says, and he knocks. And he says to people, I'm knocking. Open the door, invite me in, and you will discover the hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. And I want to encourage you, if you hear him knocking, to invite him in. And you will discover what I have discovered, that your soul will feel his worth. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you'd like to learn more about the Hill Church, please visit our website the-hill.co, or come and see us on Sunday at 4 p.m. in Matthew's house.